Welcome back in live to another episode of ROC Boys Football. We are recapping a rather successful Week 12 and getting our picks in for Week 13. We are recording Monday night, so we're getting our lines early and kind of recapping Week 12. I'll shoot down my picks first from Week 12, NIU minus 2.5. That was a good pick. I think I was on the right side of it. NIU ends up cashing over UV in a rather close one that went to OT. Texas, West Virginia, over 58. I just got screwed by Texas's inability to score points.
That's a classic.
Yeah, I was counting on some more explosive plays. They had like 14 yards of offense in the first quarter. West Virginia was kind of running the ball a lot too, limiting possession. So that was tough. I needed one more touchdown in the fourth quarter. I think I needed 10 points in the fourth quarter. I got 3. Utah minus 3 money was on the right side of that, obviously, the whole game. Auburn minus 10.5, made that pick. Pre-Bo Nix injury news, I would have stuck with it at 7.5 too with TJ Finley, and I'm not high on South Carolina. TJ Finley stinks. Shouldn't have picked it. Michigan State pick, I don't know. That was tough. That was obviously on the wrong side of it. Ohio State was just straight Death Star mode. And then for a 500 record of my picks, Michigan minus 15. They covered by $1 million too. So that was obviously a good pick. Dill, head over to your Week 12. What'd you think?
Texas. I'm just going to point out 2 things. When I pick like teams like Texas and Florida, which I'm prone to do, because I think, oh, well, these teams super talented, whatever. They haven't played their best ball, all that like cliche nonsense. And I pick these awful teams. I got to stop doing that because I'm looking at this Texas, Florida joke picks, joke teams, joke programs. Should never look at them.
That too.
Iowa State Moneyline, frankly, I don't think it's a bad pick. You had them at a bit of a dog, and they very easily could have won that game. That's kind of the risk you take, betting the dogs.
I mean, if Brock Purdy doesn't take that sack at the end of half, that gets taken back for a touchdown. We actually ended up sprinkling a little bit on that pre-kickoff when the line went down to 3.
Yeah, it did come down a little bit. So, I mean, ultimately, if I took it at the number we took it, I think that's appropriate.
Yep.
Florida State money line, I like that team's kind of battling back. Like if you watch them, they're playing for Norvell. I thought he was done. I thought they quit on him, and in fairness to him, he's rallied the troops back, and they're playing good ball heading into this game against Florida. And Stanford money line's a trash pick. I have no business taking Stanford.
Yeah, when you said that last week, I was like,
I'm stuck on them versus Oregon, and like I just saw them complete a zillion quick slants, and that's all they were doing, and it was working. And the problem with Stanford is they don't run the ball very well anymore. They're not a great physical team, and their defense is okay, but it's not like the old school Stanford that could control the ball, play slow, and suffocate teams. So really no business. That's the game I don't know enough about. I don't know why. I've watched Stanford once and Cal once. So I don't know. I have no business doing that. I'm just stupid.
Yeah, and our Rock Boy locks, the picks that we both had on our card, those are the picks we normally give out, the ones we agree on, talk about. Hey, advanced to 5-1 on the season. Having some good success there. That's kind of our bread and butter when we kind of foolproof our own picks and kind of block out the stupidity. We have some success. Purdue minus 11.
Northwestern,
can't go wrong with that. They're really, really bad. Baylor Pick'em was probably the worst line I think Vegas set. I mean, Baylor's a super solid team going into Kansas State Stadium that wasn't that hostile.
And beat them with a backup.
Yeah, even Bohannon went down and they still won. And honestly, that game could have been uglier than it was. UCLA minus 2.5 is a very good pick.
Pick against the USC fits the Florida Texas mold. Like, don't bet those teams.
Yep.
I just got to stay off of them. Obviously, it worked with UCLA, who's actually very good, in my opinion. They're not very good, but they're coming. They're coming along. So
yeah, and Florida's a horrible pick. That was one of those that slipped through
the
stupidity crack. Like we both, like one of us has to call some bullshit.
You shouldn't have let me. You were like teetering on it. Like, should I take it? Should I not?
Yeah, I do remember that.
If you have in your gut saying Florida's not good, just don't do it because God, And just to note, that's the team I was most wrong on them as I've been on any team. I thought they were an SEC title contender. Dan Mullen, I was like, oh, he's working his way into top 5 coaches. That's very wrong. You were right on that. So.
I'm not gonna say I was super down on them, but from what you saw last year, at least on the defense side of the ball, there was just a culture problem, the lack of toughness, a lack of effort, super talented defense that just like really failed to get the job done ever. So Florida's they better hit it out of the park with this next hire because they're going down a pretty bad path, and Georgia's starting to put some serious distance between them and the SEC. So all right, on to greener pastures, week 13. I'm going to give you my favorite pick. I have 2 picks, and they're both in the same game, which is kind of weird. I think Ole Miss covers. I think they win. They go into Starkville and win. This Ole Miss team is finally getting healthy again. Lane Kiffin, Matt Corral, they got their swagger back a little bit. Last game for Matt Corral, and honestly, last game potentially for Lane Kiffin as talks with him, Miami, and University of Florida pick up. I like Ole Miss going in and winning. And then I also love the over in that game. Ole Miss plays fast. They haven't played as fast as they did earlier in the season, but I think as they get healthier, they'll.
Corral's back. He's cooking again.
And then Mississippi State's an air raid offense. I think this could cover by 10 points. I really like this pick. Kind of weird to have two of the same picks, but I like them both. So Ole Miss to win in Starkville and for some points.
Yeah. And you can, as I'm looking at this, I don't let me take Florida. You can slap that Florida State into the agreement pick because I will not be suckered back into a Florida pick. That team, I don't know. I gotta get off of them. That's just stupid. I mean, FSU's really coming along. Jermaine Johnson, he might be one of the best defensive end prospects, probably maybe top 3. Is that fair? Well, he's
inching there. Top 5 in a very good class. He's probably the highest riser of anybody, maybe barring Hutchinson. He's been fun. It's crazy that he couldn't start at Georgia. That's crazy.
And Jordan Travis, he's playing good ball for them. He's kind of a gamer. Like he pulls a rabbit out of the hat here and there, and makes some plays. And again, I think the running game for Florida State's pretty good. They have a couple of guys who can break big plays, which is a good recipe to have
in Florida. Like I think this home field advantage is going to be really good.
Oh, and they're going to be rocking, I think, because this could be a good season.
Yeah,
could be a really good season for Florida State if they win this game. Like
6-6 with a win over Florida. Yeah, this would be
and Miami. So they sweep the state. Like, yeah, that'd be a huge win. So it's going to be buzzing in Tallahassee. And then just to go over to the picks I have. I think Maryland's a really good pick against Rutgers. Maryland does, in my opinion, do a very good job against bad teams. And when you can't really put pressure on Tua or Talia Tagovailoa, it seems like he does play at a very high level. And I just don't see Rutgers being able to kind of turn the heat up on him as much as maybe some of the other like Michigan or Ohio State type teams can do. So I'm also staring that Rutgers Northwestern game right in the eye. Ooh, imagine losing to Northwestern by 14, please.
Yeah, Rutgers, I was a little bit wrong on Rutgers. I was super high on them. We made some money off them early in the season. I remember we hammered them against Syracuse as a even money line.
Well, Rutgers isn't bad. It's just
they haven't been as good as I think after this Michigan game when they're 3-0 going to Michigan. Everyone's like, this Rutgers team is not bad. And they're right. They're not bad. And then they pushed Michigan at home. I mean, they gave us a good scare. And then
to me, it's like when you lose the game by 20 points in the first half and then kind of crawl your way back. I don't think that's a good recipe for thinking about teams.
But unequivocally, they were impressive in that game. In my opinion,
I agree. I'm just saying when you look at the 7-point loss, it's not as good when you consider the fact that all of it came in a second half that Michigan stuff off.
I disagree with that. They left points on the board in the second half. I think they could have easily
they couldn't score in the red zone.
Yeah, but they were moving the ball pretty consistently. And then,
it doesn't even refute my point, but whatever.
They have been pretty bad since. I mean, they got blown out by Ohio State, blown out by Michigan State. They lose to Northwestern, scrape out a win against Illinois, beat an Indiana team that just the train is officially off the tracks, and then get shut out against Penn State. This Maryland Terps team was another team that I was pretty high on. Dante Demas goes out, and ever since that Iowa loss, they kind of struggled a little bit. But they can move the ball. They can score. Can they move against Rutgers? We'll see. I'm not going to lock it up with you, but I don't hate the pick. I guess that's where I'll finish my case. Back to me, Army money line against Liberty. Army runs this option really well. I watched them run it against Wake Forest very, very successfully. They couldn't really cover anything, but not a lot of people have been able to stop Wake Forest's offense besides Clemson. I think they're going to control the clock. Malik Willis is not going to get that many touches, and if he does turn the ball over 1 or 2 times, he's not going to see it back for another 8 minutes. You get him at plus 150. I love it. I don't think Liberty's that good. That was another team that I might have been wrong on. Malik Willis is not as consistent as you'd like. We'll get more into that during the QB breakdown, but he misses a lot of throws, leaves a lot of plays to be made on the field. And give me this Army money line pick. Taking a little play out of your book and taking the road dog.
Well, road doggy, I like it.
Yeah.
You hop over to me. I think MSU. I think people are way overreacting. Like, if you play a bad game against Ohio State, it's very easy to have happen what happened. I think the matchup is a really, really tough spot for Michigan State, where they are like basically dead last in passing defense. And you're going up against that juggernaut of an offense, especially in the air, although they can run it to a Travion, so it's like they're just sick on offense. You can really present some problems. And really what that hurts Michigan State is they can't establish the run. I mean, you mentioned when we talked about this right away, it's when you're down 21-0 in the blink of an eye, you can't get to the run game, and that really hurts Michigan State. So I think the matchup's horrible. They played as bad as they could have played, and I think people are overlooking that this team's been pretty consistent for the most part. And Penn State, I don't know that they can throw it around and just kill teams in the air. Great. It's if Clifford I could fully count on being healthy all game, I think I wouldn't be comfortable with this pick, but he's just getting beat up, and those tackles don't give him a prayer. So I just think I like Michigan State here. I think they're gonna be able to move the ball okay, and it seems like the Penn State's kind of winding it down. I think they're kind of dead on this year.
I see. They just can't. They just kind of turn it on in the second half against Rutgers, and I'm very close to battlegrounding you on this pick.
Then battleground me.
I'll tell you what I'm worried about. I think Penn State can't exploit the one weakness that we see in Michigan State, the secondary, which ranks, I think, 128th out of 131 eligible teams. Horrific. Really, really bad. When Michigan's throwing for, how much do we throw for them? 350 or something, almost 400.
We were up there, yeah.
Yeah, when Michigan's shredding you in the air, that's when you know. I just don't know if Penn State can take advantage of it, whether Sean Clifford plays or not. That's what worries me. I am going to battleground you, I think. So we're going to take this pick off. And we're going to go PSU -1 battleground. Penn State is not as bad as people think. Minus that loss to Illinois, it hasn't been a horrible year for them. Obviously, injuries have played a role, but the defense is still very good. It has a very solid secondary, which Michigan State will struggle to throw against. And I think this is more of just a gut check one. Michigan State, I have a hard time seeing them getting their back off the mat. It's been a really tough 3-week span for them, losing to Purdue after the big win against Michigan, and then they just got absolutely annihilated. That's gonna be hard to come back from. And I don't know if Kenneth Walker's gonna be able to get cooking. So let's battleground it. I also need to make up some ground, so that's another reason why I'm battlegrounding a little bit. And then we'll move all your picks up a little bit. So we back to my pick. I'm gonna go Bama minus 19. Yes, it's a big spread. I don't love taking spreads that are 3 touchdowns. TJ Finley stinks. Bama's going in to Auburn, and Bama can put up 50 on anybody.
Bama's going to score 40 plus.
Auburn's defense is good, but Bama's offense is better.
They're killing people on offense.
And
Bryce Young's really good.
Finley will be able to score 21. So I 45 to 21, 45 to 14.
Yeah, that's tempting for me to lock that up.
Will Anderson is going to get after him. I like the pick. I think it's going to be.
And when Saban can beat the wheels off Auburn, he does it. It's obviously a rival.
There won't be a backdoor cover. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're going Death Star mode too.
I mean, last year they tried to score like 70. I feel like they just kept throwing the ball deep every play, and they kept hitting them, and just
Bama's going
absolutely shelled out Auburn. So I'm tempted to lock that up with you.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll take it. All right, back to me. I think as you make those changes, my next pick is University of Kentucky money line over Louisville. I think that's basically a pick 'em, so not much to do with the spread there, but Kentucky's really dominated this rivalry in the past few years. I think Mark Stoops is one of the premier get your teams ready to go in big games coaches.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about the teams, like when they play Florida, they play them tight every year, and that's a huge rivalry. And they always are geared up to play. I think they're going to be geared up to play as they have in the past few years to play Louisville. Who I think is getting a little bit of a jump because they just killed Duke, and I think people are really high on what Malik Cunningham did. Granted, he did have himself a game.
Lamar Jackson-esque.
But when you're looking at Duke, I mean, God, if you look at some of the highlights of that's just guys missing easy tackles.
Duke's defense might be the worst in Power 5. It might be worse than Kansas. They're horrible. Statistically, I mean, like, let's pull up like just their box scores. And you're giving up 23 to Northwestern is bad, 33 to Kansas. Obviously, UNC shelled them. Georgia Tech scored 31. Virginia threw it all over you. Wake Forest pretty much stopped scoring in the second half. Virginia Tech had 48. They sucked. Pitt had 54. This defense is horrible.
Now, the one thing that does concern me is Louisville's playing pretty decent ball as of late. That's a really impressive win against a good Syracuse team, frankly. I think they're way better than I thought they were going to be. But this just feels like a game that, and I don't know, this is kind of a gut game. I don't have I have some concerns because Louisville has done a decent job stopping the run. Granted, I think Will Levis is giving Kentucky a lot more in the air. I was really impressed with what he could do against
Tennessee. They're both playing better. Like both teams are playing their best football right now.
Yeah, the Wildcats, I mean, they barely lost to a really good Tennessee team recently. I mean, Vanderbilt, whatever, they're irrelevant. No, honestly, they might have played Florida or Georgia as tough as anybody's played them. They at least kind of fought with them in the first half. Then they kind of got rolled up. But I think Kentucky is a much more dynamic offense than way like that classic run the ball 500 times and throw it 10. And I love Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he's criminally underrated. One of the better playmakers in this game. Plus, they have a great offensive line. So, I don't know. This is a hunch pick. I want skin in the game. I like Mark Stoops in big games, so that's kind of my thought.
I have two things to add on to what you said. One, I feel like we need to mention Chris Rodriguez, the absolute bowling ball. He's a beast. A Louisville team that I just don't think will want to tackle him 25 times. Two, is Mark Stoops going to get hired by a team? Why isn't he getting a little bit more love in the coaching carousel?
Like Florida, go get him.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you're looking for, a Florida team they're not going to want to hire Billy Napier, who has never really coached many meaningful like Power 5. He knows how to recruit in the SEC, but I want to, if I'm Florida and I can have the cream of the crop, I'm getting a coach who knows how to recruit in the SEC, who's been a head coach in the SEC and who's done it for a long time at a high level.
Hold on, let me give you a hypothetical for Mark Stoops though. What if Lincoln Riley leaves Oklahoma?
And you got
the Stoops at Oklahoma? That'd be quite the scenario. And I don't think it's impossible.
I would be very, very. Mark Stoops seems like a fit to Florida, but like, do you think he'd fit at Oklahoma? Like, it just doesn't. It just like seems a little.
I think he could bring it back to the Barry Switzer, like when they were tough physical teams. Not like
I don't see them going back. They'll need to
even
go back.
with Stoops like Bob Stoops, at least probably in the 2000s, less so in the post 2010.
Yeah.
They played a physical, like think about how they played with Bradford. Like they threw the ball up, but they did throw it. They did play under center. They did run the ball. Like
everyone played under center then though. But I know what you mean. I know
not Florida.
We'll see. I was listening to a podcast this morning on the way to work, and they mentioned Mark Stoops. Was like, you know what? There's not many coaches who've been as consistently solid as Mark Stoops has at a program where you're not really considered a football school and you're playing a lot of football schools. And he's done a really good job there. Dave Clawson could be another guy there. Which I'm very close to taking Wake. If we get inside of a field goal on the spread, I'll take Wake Forest. We're at 4.5 right now, open at 6. So something to watch. All right, my last pick, Florida State under 59. I like this more. So if you want me to just put Florida State into your category, and I'll stick with this pick. I like the over-under more than the game. I think Florida's I don't necessarily want to bet against them. I definitely don't want to bet on them. I don't know if I want to bet against them. They are still a very talented team, have showed they are capable of playing very high-level football. But when it gets down to it, this over-under is the same as Ole Miss, Mississippi State. But these offenses run way different. I mean, both these offenses like to keep the ball on the ground. They both have running quarterbacks, and they both have offenses that have been struggling. Florida State hasn't been necessarily struggling, but I don't know if Florida State's been able to move the ball as well as they have in the past against a Florida SEC defense. Granted, it's Florida. The
SEC defense.
Yeah. What I said,
I
don't even know if I want to call them an SEC defense. But at the end of the day, I don't know if I love the over 60. Both teams are very, very run heavy. The clock's going to be running for a while. It's a rivalry game, so it's going to be a loud stadium. We'll have to check the weather. Maybe we get some rain. But regardless, I like the under.
And if you get an uninspired Florida team, which you almost assuredly are,
they might kill at 40.
I mean, if they give up, if they're losing 30-7 or something, you're in trouble. So I don't hate that pick. I don't like betting those type of unders, especially when I like a side on the game. Naturally, it's then you're dual rooting yourself, and it's weird.
So you're still sticking with Florida State, though?
Yeah, you're a sucker, obviously. You're just taking all the over-unders and our locks like a weirdo. But
I haven't lost an over-under all year, buds.
Okay, whatever.
Wait,
sorry, check that Texas game.
Damn it.
Okay. Aside from the fact you're not a great over-under better, looking at the Washington State money line, I think that's a great pick. I think Washington is just that. What a disaster of the season that is for them. Just limping into this game. And Washington State, honestly, I love the quarterback there. That's probably the biggest thing. I think he's a decent athlete and can really spin it. I think they have some good playmakers on offense, especially at wideout. And they do have a tough physical running back, number 20. So I believe it is number 20.
Is that Max Borghi?
Sounds right. I like his game. I kind of what I did was watch both of them play Arizona State, and I don't think Washington State's a great defense, but they were opportunistic. They were taking the ball away. They got a couple fumbles and a couple picks. So I'm hoping you can. Yes, I'm pretty sure I was thinking of Borgie, whatever his name is, by the way. So number 20. I don't know what, and essentially what I'm kind of thinking is Washington State's in a situation where I think they knew Nick Rolovich was gonna like end up leaving the program because it seemed like they were pretty well prepared and had the contingency plan in place. And I actually, in some sense, think that almost did more to galvanize the team than what's happening with Jimmy Lake. I mean, he just really struggled there. He can never find his groove, and obviously he's getting fired and had the incident with hitting the player. So I don't know. I think the situations are aligned better for Washington State to come into this rivalry game and play an inspired game, compete, and again, I think an opportunistic defense against some quarterback play that's not been particularly consistent out of UW. I like Washington State.
I mean, it's been downright bad in my opinion. Dylan Morris is. I mean, whether you want to blame the play calling or the quarterback play or both, it's pretty much been an underperformance on all levels, even on defense. This team it's really trending bad, and I mean that's kind of why you had to cut Jimmy Lake after 2 years. The team is an all-time just really, really poor play. They're recruiting horribly. And it was just time. I think Jimmy Lake's he's a coordinator. He's not a head coach. And I think that became very evident after 2 years. And so good on them for moving on from it. I like Jimmy Lake too. Like I like him as a coach. I just don't think he's a head guy. And Washington State, man, I'll tell you, I really like that quarterback from what I've seen. I watched a little bit of the Oregon game, and that Jaden DeLore guy, he slings it. He's a gunslinger. As long as he can avoid the turnovers and they can get Max Borghi going on the ground a little bit. I like the pick. I believe Washington's at home. Can you correct me if I'm wrong? Not that it matters. Washington's been a joke atmosphere. They are at home.
Honestly.
For a rivalry game. I honestly don't hate the pick. I really want to lock that one up with you too. It's on a Friday night.
Washington is a good environment generally, but
but this year
they're sleeping.
I don't blame them. The team's in trash.
Yeah.
I'll tweet out if I decide to lock it up. I need to look more into it. I haven't watched enough Washington State. I don't have enough feel for them. But I like the pick. So I think the last pick we need to go over is the Nebraska-Iowa battleground. News came out, Adrian Martinez is going to miss the game. I liked Iowa pre-Adrian Martinez news. Now they're favorites by 1.5. I think I can get him at. I still like them. There. So I guess I'll change it to mine.
Do you not think there's a chance that Iowa doesn't score any points? I mean, their offense is not very good.
It almost helps in a way. It almost helps Nebraska because Adrian Martinez turns the ball over a little bit, and that's kind of how Iowa scores. Iowa scores by getting short fields, and so having the backup quarterback, maybe some more conservative play calling, that could help. I think.
They're gonna need the Torre type players on that team to really pop and do something for them.
Yeah.
And I think he's had a really good year. I think their tight ends are really good, which might help a backup quarterback. Maybe some easier throws don't have to be as accurate, bigger catch radius, what have you.
Yeah.
I think you're going to avoid Anthony Martinez threw 2 very not good picks. One was really horrific. One was a decent play by the safety, and maybe you could argue Oliver Martin shorthanding a ball. Having said that, putting the ball in danger, he's got 10 picks on the year, which is a lot. And really my problem is they weren't using him probably how I think he should have been running the ball way more. They should have been using the option way more. And
the option's been their best play from what I've seen.
They're just not using it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they're doing that. I think you give them a chance to just play really good defense and really conservative offense. And I don't know. It's you taking a bet on hopefully you don't get an absolute dud out of this quarterback, whoever plays, whether it's the true freshman or the other guy.
What I'll say about this pick is that Nebraska, and I think you're right, Nebraska's a good team. They've been playing really good football. Yes, their record stinks, but I mean, they've been looking through this schedule. This game was kind of just fluky. I think that was just a weird game. Beat Buffalo and Fordham, blah, whatever. Play Oklahoma tough. They play Michigan State tough. They blow out Northwestern. They play Michigan very, very tough. This Minnesota game, they
played horrible, but honestly, the second half they look very good. If they played anywhere near their second half level, which again I'm kind of going against my own proverb, which is don't get high on teams that play good in the second half after getting their teeth kicked in the first half. Yeah, that kind of break. But I don't think they really got blown out in the first half. It was still pretty close at the half. But yeah, I mean, my thing is against Ohio State, they actually they can compete athletically with anyone. Like that's where they are. I think their talent is pretty close. It's the mistakes. Like they're making mistakes on special teams. They're turning the ball over too much. They're not converting third and shorts.
And who doesn't turn the ball over though? The team they're playing.
Yeah, but who can't keep up? The team they're playing against.
The team they can keep up. And I guess what it comes down to is Nebraska hasn't shown me they can make the plays to win football games. Iowa, on the other hand, although you might be right, they're not as good of a team. They're not going to beat themselves. And so, and in fact, they prey off teams making those mistakes. They're going to punt the ball inside the 5-yard line. They're going to play defense. They're going to turn you over in your own territory and then score points on short fields. That's what they're going to do. It's going to work against Nebraska, and I'm going to cash the pick.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think so.
It's just this is easy. I'm taking a baby here.
What?
That being said, I was so confident on the A&M pick 2 weeks ago. I thought I was cashed.
Oh, quick thing. We didn't talk about the A&M pick. I think that's a really easy pick. I don't get how they're not minus 14 against LSU. That seems like a crime to me. LSU is just I mean, I know they played Bama tight, but that's probably the only particularly impressive showing they've had all year.
That Florida win starting to look worse.
I don't know. I got to think you got your top guys. There's no way they're inspired anymore. Your Stingleys or your
DePoulis just entered the portal this morning.
I didn't know that, but that is unfortunate for them.
Anyways, yeah. The only thing I worry about with this pick is
not scoring enough. Yeah, that's true.
And he has games where he looks like an absolute gunslinger, and then there's games where he looks like Potato Man.
I mean, he threw that ball against, I know it's Prairie View, but you still that ball to the end zone, the deep one right to the corner. Just an incredible ball. He threw a couple of those against Bama. If he just makes a couple plays, it's if he just plays decent ball, they kill this team. And I don't know. That's kind of my thinking. I don't love betting with Calzada. I'm not a general fan, but
how about a Jimbo Fisher coach team and a defense inside of a
I think they're gonna make it really hard on Max Johnson or whoever plays quarterback there. Granted, LSU is running the ball a little bit, but
they won't be able to against A&M.
Hopefully.
All right, that's a wrap. I took on the spreadsheet, but we had a decent amount of picks for the last week, college football before championship week and bowls. We'll be doing a preview of every bowl because we're about that. Draft content's coming.
Every bowl.
Oh, we're doing an individual.
Talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Talking about the Sun Belt or the Beef O'Brady's Bowl.
That's actually true.
You might have to do that yourself.
You will get some good draft content though from the boys. We got a Giants one coming out soon. Again, appreciate you guys sticking with us, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Let's go make some money. Peace.